Hi there, this is Us As We Are. I'm Keegan Van Hook. Behind me is an encampment that is formed in Hawthorne Park in Medford, Oregon. These are people who were homeless prior to the Almeda Fire and living on the Greenway, and since the fire they've had to move to other parts of the city, and a lot of them have congregated here. In fact, yesterday apparently we're told that there were over 100 tents. Now there's something more like, what did you say it was, Trip? It was like 50, 60? So there's like 50 or 60 tents now. So we're going to go in and we're going to see if we can talk to some of the people who are camping here, maybe talk to some of the volunteers and perhaps even the police officers. So come on, let's go see who might be willing to talk to us. Sure. As far as like people of color and all right, we've spoken to you before, but why don't you just introduce yourself again?
Hi, I'm Keziah Anderson, and I have been doing this since June 1st.
Right on. And so this behind us, why don't you just summarize the whole situation, kind of start at the beginning and just lead us through how we got to now.
Okay, so this all started with a couple of us wanting to get together and pretty much feed the houseless people because, not everyone does it in this community, and we wanted to give them a hand to let them know that we do care and people do actually want to help them. And then lo and behold, 4 weeks later, it turned into a mutual aid spot due to COVID shutting all of their resources down and the fire is making it even worse. So we opened up our arms and we're like, yo, we're down here at the park. If you come down here to chill with us, it's a safe spot. We're all good, we won't let nothing happen to you. And the community honestly surprised me because we had people coming down, dropping off donations. We had people coming out the woodworks, basically supporting us and being like, hey, let's help these people. And it's been a heartwarming experience for me personally. And now we have what we have today, and it much bigger than what I could have ever expected. And it's much more wholesome than I ever thought could come out of this community, which is fantastic, honestly, because now we have people who I didn't know a couple weeks ago that know us by name, that trust us, that are like, thank you for what you're doing. And none of us are in this for clout or to make ourselves feel better. We're in this because we're like, hey, we know what it's like to be down at the bottom. So let us give you the hand we were given to help you get back up. And that's all we're trying to do here, is give that people the hand they need to get back up on their feet.
So when the fire broke out, the Almeda Fire through Talent and Phoenix, did you see an increase in the number of people who were staying here?
Most definitely, because due to the fires in Talent and Phoenix, a lot of them that were on the Greenway got pushed out. And then when they tried to go to, not trying to throw shade, but whenever they tried to go to shelters or, centers or urban campgrounds, they got turned away. So we gave them a spot that wouldn't turn them away, and we're like, hey, we understand times are hard, let us give you a hand to help you out.
So the primary demographic here is people who are houseless prior to the fire as well?
Prior, before, during, if you need help, we're here to help you. That is our whole demographic, is to help people. If they need a hand, we'll give them that hand.
So, okay, what you're looking at right now is they got a public notice yesterday, a public notice of illegal camping that basically said that they had to be out of here in 1 week. According to the officer, there was a clerical error, which is why the date says that it is the 27th. And now they have a public notice of illegal camping that says they need to be out within 24 hours. So tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., they have to be out. Right on. So tell me about what happened with the police and the 7-day notice that you received yesterday, and now the 24-hour notice that you've received today. Can you kind of fill us in on what happened there?
Well, when we originally got the 7-day notice, we were like, okay, we got 7 days to figure something out before they come in and bulldoze all of this. And then this morning, I was sitting in the car and I looked up and I seen Medford PD walking through and giving everyone 24-hour notice. We're like, how you expect us to get all of this out in 24 hours? And then they were like, we're not just going to push you guys out, we're actually going to help you, which surprised the hell out of me because I wasn't expecting Medford PD to do anything about this except push us out. And then they come in today and they've been helping us all morning, trying to help us relocate some of these people that have been displaced and getting the help for the people that need the help. And speaking as someone who has protested against the police, seeing them actually help the community shocked me beyond belief. And I've run into a couple of the officers here that I know personally, and they're like, yeah, we agree with you, you know, and we think you're doing the right thing. Let us help you continue doing that, because there are, you know, rules and stuff you got to follow.
So the police have been, they've had a helpful attitude?
For the most part, yeah, they've had a helpful attitude today. Tomorrow, we don't know what's in store. But as of right now, everything's been pretty peaceful. You know, they've been helping us, you know, relocate people who can get the resources, you know, helping us find resources for the ones that can't. So it's been pretty nice.
So tomorrow, speaking speculatively, when 24 hours is up, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. My expectations of it, because I've been talking to some of the cops, my expectations of it is, hopefully, in a perfect world, their humanity will kick in and be like, okay, look, you guys have been cooperative, you guys haven't started any trouble, you guys are just trying to help people. We're not going to push you guys out, but we are going to help you find places for these people to go. Is what I'm hoping for. What's actually going to happen is in the air at this point.
Kazaya, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Sweet. Okay, so why don't you introduce yourself and explain what your role in all this is?
Hey, what up? Okay, my name is Josh. I'm just helping out here as a volunteer. The reason that I got involved originally, this was a feed effort before the fire happened. And the reason it became a feed effort from the very beginning is because we were trying to do originally just Black Lives Matter rallies down in Medford, right? And we were being physically and verbally assaulted by counter-protesters. Like, I could show you video of people literally attacking members of our community for no reason other than they're exercising their First Amendment rights. So Clarence, being a brilliant man, he said, well, you know what? We're not going to get anywhere just facing off, yelling at each other. So he said, if you guys believe in all lives matter, then y'all should come out here and help us, because we're going to be feeding people every day. That's a big part of what started the feeds. But then the fire happened. So then suddenly it was like, okay, well, this isn't just a meal a day. We need to provide something for these people. And a mutual aid effort grew out of that. But ultimately, the greater problem is this. We have violent people in this community that have been making threats against a relief effort. And the problem is there's bad info. There's a lot of bad info going around our community. People saying that people out here are starting fires, or people out here are terrorists, or this or that or the other. This is a relief effort. I have never in my entire life on earth saw a relief effort be targeted by angry mobs. That's happening. And now, as you see, we were told you have to be out by the 28th. We thought, oh, and you know, we even had people from the city council come out and talk to us and tell us this is a kind act from Medford. They're giving you guys the time to get people resettled. So this is a good thing. And I'm like, wonderful. Now today, they send out mobs of police to tell us they made hundreds of clerical errors on every eviction notice that they put out here. What is that? There's no such thing as hundreds of clerical errors. Why do we have city council folks and park rec folks coming out here telling us that they did us a favor, just to then have the police pull that away and say it was a mistake?
So they said it was a mistake, the 1 week notice, and then they gave out the 24-hour notice?
Literally just hours ago.
So what do you think is going to happen tomorrow morning when the 24-hour notice is up?
When the 24-hour notice is up, there's a good chance that some of these folks are going to want to stay, and there's a reason they want to stay, because there is an actual law on the books right now from Kate Brown stating that these people during this COVID crisis have a right to shelter in place anywhere they are. All right, they chose this place because we have a safe area here where we can take care of these people. We can provide food, we can provide tents, bedding. We're just trying to help people. Literally, it is a relief effort, and the law says that they should be able to shelter anywhere in place during this crisis. So if that is not provided, and if they're just allowed to shelter in place anywhere, then why are we taking everywhere away? Where is there that everybody keeps talking about? All these compassionate people on the left and the right keep saying, well, we just got to get them to there. But no one is defining where there is, because there is no there.
So on a different track, off camera, you were sort of telling me about problems with other journalists and press coming through here. Can you explain some of that?
Okay, so yeah, this morning, what woke me up out of bed and got me down here is I was watching a live report from KTVL, a guy claiming to be a journalist who came out here with a cell phone and for about 24 minutes straight just walked around filming everything, Pure conjecture, purely made up every single thing that he thinks is going on. Kept saying, I think it's this, maybe it's that. During that 24 minutes, he did not speak to a single volunteer, a single police officer, a single resident of this community. Didn't talk to anyone, spent 24 minutes, pure conjecture. And I was blown away because I'm like, you're supposed to be a journalist, dude, and you're so terrified of these people that you can't even speak to a single one. You're in the wrong position, dude, wrong career.
So we've been hearing a lot of complaints about the media around here lately.
Yeah.
How do you think media, and this includes us, how do you think that we can do a better job?
I'll tell you how you can do a better job. Y'all need to police the community's comments. Because I'll tell you what, go to KTVL on Facebook right now. Read every single post. Why is it that it's filled with racism, filled with genocidal comments, filled with vicious, hateful shit? Sorry, pardon my French. But rhetoric, dude, violent rhetoric. And these Facebook pages, they're not doing any kind of monitoring of their own comment sections. So literally, they'll put up an article like right now, that live video, most likely, I bet if you go to that video right now and look through the comment sections, you'll literally find people making comments like this. This is a quote from one of the comments I read. It said, these people need to get out of that park and be put in a labor camp. Somebody said that they should put these people in a labor camp. Why is no one saying Nazi shit is not allowed in our community? Why is no one saying you can't say this shit in our community or on our pages? No one is policing that kind of language, and so genocide is brewing in our own community because no one's doing anything about it. So yeah, the media has a responsibility, and the responsibility is to let these people know you don't get to talk genocide in America. You don't talk about labor camps for the homeless. That's not okay. You know, I don't think it should be up to us to have to browbeat these people down. And the worst part is we're losing that fight because this viewpoint that kind of behavior has now become normalized. I don't know if you guys saw this, but like some of the reasons that people are so violent and angry against this camp is because of all the rumor milling happening online. There are people saying, literally, there was a post, and I'm not trying to create more stress, so I'm not going to bring up the whole situation. But there was a post basically claiming that we were paying the homeless here to go and do things for us. Somebody posted that, left it as vague as possible. What does that mean? We're doing things. No, if anybody gave some money to a homeless person to do something, it's like, hey, could you go grab a bag of ice over at the corner store? But this person is literally trying to insinuate that we're like training people to do this, that, or the other. There's no political ideology here. This is a mutual aid effort. Every group that wants to help and saw a relief crisis in need is here. There is no political ideology here, and I'm sick of the people pushing this because it's creating an atmosphere rife for potential violence.
Shelters, they have rules and regulations. One shelter, if you want to be in there, they say that you have to read the Bible in the morning first before having breakfast. I love the Lord. I worship the Lord. But he's not a forcible God. And when a place is saying that, that's making it seem like he's forcible. And I can't participate in that.
So to clarify, you are currently out on the street?
Yes, sir. I'm living in my car, and I don't want to be living in my car. And now when they see all this, they're going to know it. But you know what? I can't go run in a line and say, hey, I need some new organs. You know? Okay. This is my life. I just came from being stalked for 10 years to try to change my life to only finding out that I'm in a sick friggin' building because I put myself in mental health, to learn how to breathe because I can't take pills, to use healing essential oils, to that discovery, to be now treated like I'm not even a human being. And then now I'm out here and I'm scared because I live in my car, and then they just came here and they're doing what they're doing here. I was already gone for the morning and had come back. I don't want my car to be impounded. It's the safest place I have. Now that the smoke is clearing, I can breathe a little bit, but it's got a raspy throat. I've had to hit my bronchial inhaler a few times. I tried to go to the urban camp thing. They picked me up on Friday.
To the expo?
Huh?
To the Jackson County Expo?
No.
Which one, the urban camp?
Yeah, what they're doing right now.
Oh, okay.
That thing. And I was told there was a charging station there. Well, yeah, there was a charging station, but it's down and nobody can use it. Personally, there's been a lot of rumors that have gone around about New World Order, concentration camps, Camp FEMA. I was starting to feel that way. I have a mental illness. I was starting to feel that way, like, oh my God, if I don't have my phone, who can I call if there's an emergency? How can I film what's going on to prove my case, if there is, you know? It made me feel really uncomfortable. I started to feel like, you know, I might get extinguished. And I think that's a natural human response to feel that way. I was talking to the police and I said, you know, how can people respect what you're saying? If you're telling people, oh, you can charge your phone, they feed you, they lock the gates at 10, open it at 6, and then there's no charging, you know? I said, you guys rely on your phone too. I'm sure your family relies on your phone, and your partners where you work probably rely on their phone too. It's become a nightmare. You know, I look for a place, I get discrimination because I have a service dog. And there's two ways you can ask, there's two questions you can ask. Is that a service dog? How does it service you? Not, does your service dog get along with little dogs? That's not included. So then, bam, I don't get a place. And I had a place to be able to go take a shower, but Better Housing, Craig Horton, decided that I can't have my service dog over there. They did a little walkthrough inspection of their property. My dog's water bowl was on there. My friend said, this is my friend's service dog. And they're like, nope, no dogs allowed here. You know, this dog helps me get out of my house because, like I said, I was a person who was stuck for 10 years. I was only coming out to pay my bills and go grocery shopping. That was it. That's documented under my mental health stuff.
So if tomorrow they make good on the 24-hour notice that they just gave to this encampment, where do you think you might go?
To jail.
You think you would try and stay and then go to jail?
I want to breathe. I want to breathe. These are my organs. This is all I have. It's not my fault people want to discriminate.
All right, Clarence, we've talked to you before, but just why don't you introduce yourself one more time?
Oh, Clarence Carter. Clarence Carter. What you want to know? Just my name, date of birth, what?
No, just like, and then what your role is in the community.
My role in this community is that, honestly, I'm just a person who speaks out. I don't bite my tongue. I'm very boisterous. I'm a nonviolent person. I learned violence don't really do nothing. But when you also go nonviolent and you go peaceful protests, look at how they come and tear it up too. This is my peaceful protest. They said they don't know what this is. Protest is when you are tired of the government of avoiding problems and you bring them to them. This is a problem. This has been a problem for decades.
The houseless issue?
The houseless issue. And I'm bringing it forward. I'm bringing it to them. And to me, this is no better. This is a peaceful protest. Even the police sat on live today and said they don't see no problems. They don't see no nothing out here. So this is 100% peaceful, and we're abiding by the law. We're just using the law to enforce our rights. And it just amazes me how they're still being stumped on.
So we've heard a couple times that the police's attitude has actually been pretty good, that like they're not stomping on us. And
no, they're not. They're trying to use
on you guys?
More of like the passive way. The passive, like we're just trying to get them to our camps and get them there. But when you go and talk to most of these people without police present, they don't want to be at those camps because it feels more institutional-like. A lot of them complain about the food, the treatment. The bathrooms can't be used for days and stuff like that. I'm listening to a lot of the officers' complaints as well, which are valid. They're the same complaints that every citizen in Jackson County done had for the last 10 years. There's trash all over. The homeless population is bad. There's just needles in the park. These complaints didn't just start now. These complaints have been going on for years. I'm just bringing them to the surface and bringing them to one recollection that this is all one big problem that needs to be fixed and not just swept back underneath the freeway.
So with the police acknowledging that it's been peaceful and chill here, why do you think that they want everybody out?
Because they want to sweep the problem back underneath the freeway. Then they could just keep shooing them along when they get the complaints. And then that's it. It's shooing the problem along. It's not fixing it. And that's the reason why we protest, right? It's to fix problems, not shoo them along. So that's it.
So could you kind of walk me through the timeline of how this started? Because I know it was slightly before the fire, and then when the fire happened, it grew, and then now we're here. Could you just walk me through that timeline?
That timeline would be, well, it started before the fire. That's the biggest lie. I would say that's the biggest lie.
That's not true?
No, that's not true. This started way before the fire, because if you guys recall, I've been feeding people out here for almost a month now.
Oh, so it did start before the fire?
Yeah, so this started way before the fire. We first started protesting downtown Medford. You guys seen what happened when we protested downtown Medford, right? I mean, I got called a bunch of evil names. I got told I was a piece of shit, that I didn't belong to this community. I wasn't bringing nothing good to this community. I was trying to destroy this community. Me and another gentleman, older gentleman, said that we were just tired of being called a bunch of names, tired of getting dragged through the street when we're just trying to stand up for our rights. So we figured that we could go protest a different way. So we revamped our protesting to feeding people and doing something right, and showing that, you know, if we come out and do something right, we could build a community and we could do something. And then it turned into that was a problem. And the police came to kick a handicapped man out, and that's how this all started. There's a guy in a wheelchair. He told me he's tired, he's irritated, he has nowhere else to sleep, he hasn't slept in weeks. The police come, throw him out of his wheelchair, treat him like shit, treat him like whatever. And I made an ordeal myself that I wouldn't move that night, that I would stay where I was. And literally, that's what I've done. I stayed where I was. That night, I showed the police the law. I showed the police everything that they needed to see. I showed them that they were basically, Kate Brown has said that they all have a right to stay in place, and that came down through Boise. It went through Grants Pass courts, and obviously they don't abide by the courts. Like I've been saying since day one, as an activist or just as a person. The police do whatever they want, and it depends. If the community okays it, they'll do it.
So right now, as it stands, you guys have a 24-hour notice that says you have to be out of the park by, I believe it's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
When that time is up, what do you think is going to happen?
I always stand with the people. If they decide to stand, then I stand with them. We don't have to fight. We don't have to argue. All we have to do is stand here, and we can all go to jail peacefully. And then we can all get out of jail peacefully and come back down here and reassemble and do it all again. If they want to waste our time in pushing houseless people from place to place to place to place to place, why not waste their time making them take us to jail to jail to jail to jail?
So you'll stand your ground?
I will stand my ground as long as they stand with. I can't stand by myself,
right.
But as long as they're ready to make a stand, then I'll stand with them.
The ones we have at home are all popular.
Okay, why don't you just introduce yourself first?
Sure, my name's Trevor Arnold. I'm a lieutenant with Medford Police Department.
Hold on. So what brings you out here today?
Well, we're out here trying to connect these people with some services. We brought Rogue Retreat out here with us, Jackson County Mental Health, the Gospel Mission, trying to make sure that all the people that are out here that are camping in this public park know that there are organized places, services for them to get wraparound services. There's shelter options available. There's organization to this, and they don't have to be in this basically public park, this unorganized event.
So can you sort of walk us through the timeline from your perspective? Because we got it from some of the campers and volunteers here. How did this start, and how has it evolved, and how did we get to where we are now?
It started sometime after the Almeda Fire started. So within a few days after that, we started to notice some tents that popped up. Unfortunately, the majority of all of our police resources were dedicated to evacuations, traffic control, and things associated with the Almeda Fire, and we weren't able to come down here and connect with people until this last week. And so last Monday I came down here and I did the same thing. I had a printout of all the resources, places that had bed space available, fire evacuation locations, emergency shelters, and try to connect with people and get some people into those services. I met folks that came here from California, from Washington, from Idaho, really from all over the West Coast that were not local folks who'd been displaced by the fire. So it was really surprising and kind of eye-opening to see what had happened and just popped up here, within a couple of day period.
And so what has the situation here been like? Has it been overall peaceful, or have there been any problems? Like, sort of, what's the general vibe?
Really, the biggest concern right now is the health and safety of the park and the people and the unsanitary conditions that are happening here. I mean, there's one set of bathrooms that are, established for this park at the other end, and there's, this is meant to be a temporary use for people to come and go and be able to use the park. And so it's not set up to be an emergency evacuation structure. It's not a structure at all. So, trying to reach out to some of the folks that we think are the organizers but don't claim to be the organizers, to make sure that we're getting these people connected with the resources they need.
So tell us about those resources, where you'd like to redirect the people camping here.
Yeah, so there's spaces at the Rogue Retreats urban campground. There's spaces at the Kelly Shelter, the Presbyterian Church. Anyone who's actually been displaced by the fire, there's still openings and availability at the Expo, which has really all the services that everyone out here would need, as far as food, clothing, laundry facilities, shelter, indoor space, place to put up tents. So I just feel like a lot of the people out here have not been informed of what their options are, and they've just kind of thought that this was a good place to set up camp, but it's a public park, and it's not.
So we've been told that a lot of the people who are camping here right now were houseless prior to the fires as well, and that the Expo and some of the other shelters designed for people who are refugees, if you will, from the fire, that those places aren't taking in people who are homeless prior to the fire. Is that true? Can you confirm or deny that?
I can't confirm that. I can confirm. I mean, Rogue Retreat's been down here with us all day at connecting people. That's specifically their model, right? Is to connect with the houseless individuals and get them into shelters. Whether it's starting at the campground and transitioning up to the Kelly Shelter and then into Hope Village. I mean, trying to get them into some organization of their day so they can be in sanitary conditions, they can get the assistance they need, and help them with addiction recovery services if that's something they need, or writing a resume so they can apply for jobs, having a stable environment so they can be gone for the day because they've got a job or they're looking for a job and they don't have to worry about their stuff stolen. I mean, the first lady I talked to today that we got her into the Kelly Shelter, she already has a job, but she leaves every day in fear that all her things just get destroyed or rifled through when she's gone, because she's got to go to work for 8 hours a day, but she can't afford a house. And I mean, my heart goes out to her. I'm compassionate and empathetic to that type of behavior. So we need to get someone like that involved in those type of wraparound services.
So right now there's a 24-hour notice to evacuate, but leave the park. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so when the 24 hours is up, I think that's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, what is the plan? What do you do from there?
Everyone everyone has to leave. So we'll be back here again tomorrow, just like we are all day today with our service providers trying to get people connected. We'll be back here first thing tomorrow morning with them again, trying to get people connected. If people just flat out refuse to leave, they have to leave the park. We have to get the park closed off so that we can get the Parks Department in. Well, all the places that I've talked about. So. Yeah, I mean, to try to get them into those services, trying to get them to those organizations. So, I mean, really, the more cooperation, if we can get cooperation from anyone here that wants to claim to be an organizer, that wants to help us get folks there, we'll gladly do it. We've got vehicles, traveling, getting people back and forth to the Kelly Shelter, getting them checked out medically so they can be, in a stable environment and not in a place where they have to walk around and, avoid feces, avoid needles, avoid drug paraphernalia. It's a public park.
So if we've heard definitely that a lot of people are planning to stand their ground when you come in to make them leave. With people who are adamant about not leaving, sort of what's the protocol there? Are you going to have to arrest them, or is it more of just a redirection? What do you want to do?
Honestly, the last thing we want to do, especially people who've been displaced by either their situation financially or the fire, the last thing we want to do is continue to displace them. I don't want to have to arrest anybody in here, right? But once the park is closed and we have to close and we have to get everybody out of here, I mean, unfortunately, I don't want someone to force our hand and for us to have to make an arrest, but that is a possibility.
Well, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate all the news organizations. I appreciate the folks getting out here trying to get the message out. I feel like this has been a very positive day. I know there's some folks that feel like it's been confrontational, but I've seen nothing but, COVID handshakes and elbow high fives today. And we've gotten, I think 15 people connected so far today with Rogue Retreat services. So I think it's been very positive.
All right, folks, highly interesting situation developing here in Hawthorne Park. It sounds like tomorrow something different is probably going to go down, so I'm glad we made it here today to talk to some of these people about their situation, how they feel about all this. I'm also glad we got to talk to the police officers, get their side of this whole story. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. In any sense, folks, I've been Keegan Van Hook. This is Us As We Are, and we'll see you in the next one.